generation, two Prose Bros are born, chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Eddie Cruz.
And I am Jeff.
And today we have a very special guest. His name is Jason Charles. Jason?
Greetings, how are you?
Ah, man. Jason, where did I meet you, man? I met you at the Black Market?
Yeah, it was back at
right?
the market. I used
Nice.
to bounce at the market for a little bit. Yeah.
Nice. Jeffrey, you've just met Jason.
Yeah, you look really familiar, and I know you from somewhere.
Probably the black market. No.
Maybe, I don't know. Hopefully, Eddie will allow us to be friends, because I know he's very specific about who I'm friends with and who I'm acquaintances with.
Goddamn right.
Well, as long as you don't smell my butt, we're good.
No promises.
No promises at all. Anyway, well, I will start by saying that you're a huge fan of Buffy.
Huge, ginormous.
Huge, ginormous fan. And that's why we had you on. We've had people on that haven't even seen Buffy before. We've had people on that just watched it casually. But I would say that you are Buffy expert?
I would go as far as...
Not
might
ours,
as well,
but
yeah.
a Buffy expert.
A Buffy expert. I do have the tattoo to prove it.
He has a tattoo on his wrist. What does it tattoo say?
It says, into
Tattoo.
every generation, chosen.
There you go, man. To every generation chosen, which I have no idea what that means. But heck yeah, man. Today we're doing episode 10, Nightmares.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good episode. Would you guys agree?
Really good episode, but it's still season 1, so it's not really established.
I completely agree. Season 1 kind of sucks.
Yeah, they're
We're
doing the
getting
Monster
close
of the
to
Week.
end, though.
Yeah.
Monster of the Week is indeed the theme for season 1.
And it's kind of shitty, because you initially get that scene with the Master, and it's like, cool, Master episode. Nope. Monster of the Week with the Master.
Yeah.
Teaser.
Just a little cameo by him.
So, Jason, do you want to tell us how you got into Buffy originally? And then I do want to ask you about your Cordelia story.
Oh, I've
Prison
got more than just
Carpenter.
Cordelia.
I want to hear all about that shit. But why don't you tell us how you got into Buffy?
Well, first time I actually got into Buffy was I was at a concert, and the drummer was obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer at
What
the
concert
time.
and who was playing?
I want to say it was a band called Bozo Porno Circus. Yeah, they're awesome, by the way.
Right on.
But the guitarist or the drummer was obsessed with Buffy, and he was like, "Oh, I'm missing the show." I'm like, "Oh, today's the finale." He's like, "Don't tell me anything." I'm like, "Oh, how am I going to tell you anything? I'm at the show."
Right on.
So then I kind of started backtracking, and every single time that I tried to watch the episodes on reruns, it was always the graduation episode, always. So once they started coming out on DVD, I actually got to watch them in order, and it's all history from there. I became obsessed and started going to Buffy conventions in Burbank, California. Met pretty much every single cast member.
I was about to say that's actually how we met. I had just gotten all this equipment and I didn't use it at all then.
Mm-hmm.
And I was learning how to actually record anything using it. And you were like, "Hey, I can get you Spock from the new YouTube Star Trek show."
Yeah. I'm friends with a few celebrities.
Nice, man.
Because of all these conventions, I get them drunk.
You're a convention fiend.
I'm a huge convention autograph hound. Yeah.
Right on, man.
How are those? I've always felt, for me, those might seem a little overwhelming with the amount of people, or...
No, well, it depends.
Jeff
if
and
you're
I
going to go...
have phobias of crowds.
Unless we're drunk.
Unless we're drunk, in which case we're like, woo!
No
wicked!
fucks given.
That's
Yeah.
what you got to do then. I go to Texas Frightmare Weekend every year, so
Right on.
I'm obsessed with that one because they got actually some of the best actors. I've gotten to meet Ernest Borgnine before he passed. Same thing with Angus Scrim. Roddy Piper I got to meet at this. So,
Roddy hits me in many, many directions.
That's
sweet man, by the way.
That sounds weird, dude.
I know, and I'm just going to stick
Mostly
with that.
from the back, though, right?
Yeah, mostly from the back. Lots from the front, though. They live is always from the front.
Bubblegum and all.
Good stuff, man. So who have you met from the show?
Okay, here's the thing: is like anybody who's ever been credited on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, I have to have their autograph.
All right.
So if they're uncredited, if it's just a cameo, I can't deal with that.
The original Willow.
No,
you don't give a fuck.
Well, I would, but what is she doing now?
Right on.
But it's
what
like,
if she's
What
really...
about Wendell from this episode?
actually, I asked.
Oh my God,
yeah,
fucking...
yeah, I'm not kidding. Justin Ulrich, I believe, was his name.
Was he in any other movies? Because, like, I definitely feel like I've seen him in other movies.
He was an extra in a lot of things.
Yeah, he seems like an extra.
Yeah, but
in a lot of things.
I communicated with him MySpace days. Yeah, and I sent him a message. He said he was going to send me an autograph because I need an autograph from everybody.
You know what I miss about MySpace? Being able to put ominous music in the background when people look on your page.
Right.
Like, actually, you'd be like, oh, when you get to my page, you're going to listen to Tori Amos because I'm deep and into femininity.
I always muted that shit.
I know you
I would have gone with Nerf Herder, which, by the way, the reason why Nerf Herder and everybody else was even on there was Allison Hannigan was a groupie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the day, she was a
I'd heard
groupie.
about that.
Oh, that's awesome.
She was the one that told Josh Whedon, hey, this is cool.
This is the best band you can play.
Right on.
Do you know this? I would assume so. I've always assumed that Buffy is the reason that they re-recorded the song and it got so much better around, like, what is it, midway through season 2?
Yeah.
Because it went from, I love punk, and I like that kind of no effects fat style punk. It went from kind of being a shitty recording to that like Fat Records no effects sound.
Yeah, and they also redid the intro like season 2 with Giles doing it rather than the now Buffy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that was way better. Even though I do mimic that voice.
You're way better. You're the best.
Thanks, man.
You're the best.
Yeah.
So Wendell, you met Wendell?
No. I just I contacted him. I mean, there's numerous nobodies, I want to say, that I've got autographs from. So
I wouldn't call them nobodies. There's somebody to everybody's somebody to everybody, right?
yeah,
You made their day.
I made their day.
Not only that, man. On top of that, like, there's some people that I'm like super like. I would get more flustered if I saw them and they would be nobodies to other people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, especially if you're at a convention, you're asking $20 a pop, and you're like, "Who are you?" I'm the guy who pushed the wheelchair in episode 4. Yeah. So.
Yeah, man. No. Unspoken heroes for sure.
Well, we always talk about how much, especially in this season, that Charisma Carpenter, Cordelia, just kills it as that mean girl bitch. She's one of my favorite characters in this season. And you said you met her, right?
I did. I met her this, last year. It was 2015. She is not acting. That is really her. She wanted to play as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's originally what she had auditioned for. And she got Cordelia instead. I don't see why not, because in the long run, when she was at the Phoenix Comic-Con that I went to, she even came with an entourage of Cordettes. So she had everybody there. And I just mentioned to her, I'm from El Paso. I spoke to her in Spanish real quick because I know too much about these actors. She was raised in Mexico. She lived in Mexico for a few years.
Oh, wow.
So when I spoke to her in Spanish, I was expecting a reply. And she just kind of, all right, hi.
Well, does she know Spanish? Or
No. No,
just
she was
acted
completely
like Cordelia.
lost. Yeah, and she's like, okay. And then right away, the girl that was behind me automatically, I love your purse. Where'd you get it? So it was like,
I know it wasn't, and I know she's an actress aside from Cordelia, but I was just hoping it was Harmony, just right next to her still.
Oh, no, Harmony would have been badass, though.
Right on. Harmony, I just recently realized, was in Addams Family Family Values.
Yeah, she was the Girl Scout.
Girl Scout, yeah.
Are they made from real girls?
So you brought up Cordelia was a potential Buffy or went out for that role.
Mm-hmm.
We also mentioned that Amy from The Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody else who also went out for that role? I know there's several people who did.
Darla.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Natalie Portman. No.
Yeah.
Darla actually had gone with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she wanted to be Buffy. Everybody wanted to be Buffy. Except for Christy Swanson, obviously.
I will. She really said she hated that being Buffy. Right?
Yeah, but that's like
the last thing she did. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to another convention at the end of this month in San Antonio.
And she'll be there.
Christy Swanson will be there.
Will Luke Perry be there?
No, but originally it was going to be David Arquette, which I've already met.
All right.
And so they were going to do a Buffy reunion in that
I
sort.
love David Arquette in that movie.
That would have been better.
That would have been better.
He's
Yeah.
really awesome too, by the way.
He is awesome.
Yeah. When I met him, it was the Scream reunion. So it was Skeet Ulrich, David Arquette, and Matthew Lillard.
Oh wow, Matthew Lillard was my favorite growing up.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, everything he did,
Skate
in my
TV.
opinion, was gold. Up until Scooby.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan.
And now he's the only voice for all Shaggies.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard about
so,
that.
Casey
Well,
Kasem.
I will say that I liked the Scooby cartoon when I was a kid, but the movies, I was just not into it.
Yeah, now the cartoon, that's him. They
Yeah.
have no choice. He's
Awesome.
the closest thing.
Speaking of the Scoobies,
Ah.
Oh, Scoobies.
yeah, right? So we should go over what happened in this episode.
We should. Am I doing that today?
Nah, I'm doing it.
All right, you're doing it.
The lackluster.
Jeff, what happened this episode?
Well, this was all about nightmares, and you don't really get the sense that it is about nightmares till later on in the episode. It starts with a scene. Buffy's in the Master's lair, and she's about to confront the Master. I got all excited. I was like, cool, this is actually going to happen. No, it's not. What does happen, the Master bites her, and I believe, did you go to credits right after that?
Yeah, I think we
yeah.
went right to credits.
So it's like, oh shit, what the fuck happened? We all have seen this before, so we know that, she really doesn't get bit. When they come back, it's established it was just a dream. Willow and Buffy are talking, and they're talking about Buffy's parents' divorce and the fact that her dad is coming into town.
One of the few times he actually shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Right after that, they're heading to class. In the class, you meet Wendell. This, I guess, is he like a typical weirdo who...
I wouldn't say weirdo. He's awesome, man. He's got long hair and 2 earrings. Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Yeah, Lars Ulrich's cousin.
Yeah, which is really funny because he's dressed exactly like Lars Ulrich would in like Sandman video.
With a shirt.
Yeah, with a shirt on.
Yeah.
He killed it for that
He
role.
nailed it, man.
As
he
a
nailed
weirdo.
it. He nailed it.
So he gets covered in spiders. Then Buffy sees this little creepy kid by the door. He comes off as creepy, right? At least I thought he came off.
I thought he
as...
was kind of like a little like JTT on a budget.
My thing with that is nobody else noticed him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the whole time. I'm like, there's an underage person walking around high school. Forget it.
There's a lot of not noticing things in Buffy.
It's
Yeah.
a hellmouth.
Yeah.
It happens.
My favorite. I just love that. You could write that in. Way better writing than trying to explain anything. It's like the Hellmouth.
It's a hellmouth.
Weird fucking shit happens.
Shit happens.
So after that, Wendell gets covered in tarantulas who are, I don't know if the spiders are attacking him or not, but he's covered in tarantulas. The whole class freaks out about it. They go and they talk to him about it, and they find out that he's not afraid of spiders. He actually loves them, which I thought that was kind of a weird thing to put in the show. I don't know how you guys felt. They could have done without the whole developing Wendell as a person who actually loves spiders, and then he goes into this thing where, what was it, his brother put him in like
A heat
Maybe
lamp.
just
lamp
left
or-
a heat lamp too long.
That specific actor was so into his role that he added all this stuff, and the director was like, okay. Edit in. It's okay.
That's what happened with Ben Affleck in the movie. So he's like,
Yeah.
"What's my motivation?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, you're a
like,
basketball player. That's it."
Wendell and Ben Affleck.
And there you
Two
go.
peas in a
Peas in
pod.
a pod.
Goodwill Hunting 3.
There you go, right?
I thought that was super weird. Like, why? Why even do that?
Yeah, why not?
But anyway, they flesh out Wendell. Wendell's even creepier because he loves spiders. So again, we see Buffy in a classroom, and she's about to take a test. She barely knows her name. The pencil breaks. Well, she knows her name. I'm sure she knows her name.
Yeah, also, who applies that much pressure to write their name down?
Slayer
Well,
strength,
not
dude.
only that, it was like straight down.
It was
wasn't
straight
like,
down. It wasn't even like, it was like,
I'm gonna stab this.
I'm going
Stick
to
it."
break my pencil. That's
Yeah.
what that felt like to me. That wasn't.
She did it on purpose.
Have you ever done a pencil break on purpose? I've done a pencil break on purpose.
No, why would you do a pencil break on purpose?
To go sharpen your pencil.
Why?
I don't know, something to do. Stretch your legs.
Jason, is that something you...
Sure.
Just,
I always had problems with those rubber ones, the rubber pencils.
Oh,
that
yeah,
were
the
just
ones that are
really
like-
wood. They were like facsimile.
Plastic and wood mixed
Yeah.
together. I like those except for with pencil fights.
Yeah.
They'd break too easily.
Yeah.
So before you know it, the test is over, the period is over, and she sees the little creepy kid again. So we cut to the basement, and we see some sort of demon. Looks like almost it could be a vampire.
Let's be real. It's Freddy Krueger on, like Freddy Krueger light.
And I'm thinking more Resident Evil.
That's what I was thinking of.
But Resident Evil was like after this.
Yeah. So who ripped off who?
Yeah, Nemesis, is that
Nemesis,
the guy that you guys think? All right. See, I'm thinking Freddy Krueger, but they didn't want to use blades for fingers, so they put a bit of club on him.
A rubber club.
Club was super cheesy. But
yeah,
he hits the wall. It like
super cheesy.
Flops over.
Yeah, rubber club.
But for what year it was and the budget they had,
it was good.
Excellent.
Let's put a Nerf club on him.
Yeah,
let's not hurt anybody.
It definitely, in my opinion, was an allusion to Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, if not flat out ripoff.
Yeah, ripoff. I'd go with ripoff.
This whole episode is pretty Freddy Krueger-y.
It's the same thing with all of season 1, which is pick a movie and emulate it.
And in the long run, no harsh feelings towards the writers or anything. They've all made amazing career jumps because of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But yeah, season 1.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. They're lucky that there was nothing else going on TV at the time.
Yeah.
It was the beginnings of reality series.
The anti-apprentice,
The anti-writing for TV.
It was the end of Seinfeld, right? That was around the same time. So like what most people think of like the best show on at that time had just ended.
And it predated Smallville by like a year or two.
I would say 2 years at least.
So a Bobo Freddy Krueger beats the shit out of this girl who we find out is named Laura, which that doesn't really matter. We don't need to know her name.
Never see her again.
Yeah. She ends up in the hospital, and they go to, meaning Buffy and, who was it? Was it Buffy and Giles?
Giles.
Yes.
Buffy and Giles go to check on her because the police don't, because that's not a thing that happens.
Which my thing with that is they're not really fair weather friends. They're more like, hey, we're just going to show up, give you flowers. I know we've never spoken before. You've never entered the library. You've never even met the librarian. But here's some flowers. Tell me about what happened.
Plot device from the Scoobies.
Mm-hmm. They only show up when bad news happens.
It's really weird. I could see like Buffy's like, oh, this girl who I go to school with wants to visit me, but the fucking librarian, and they're showing up together.
No, and he's got his like little frilly scarf on. So
there's some scarves in this episode.
Yeah, and hair clips.
Yeah,
there's some hair clips.
There's some stuff.
Some crimping.
So they go to the hospital and they see the same little kid, Billy, who Buffy keeps seeing around the school. Then we start to see a lot of stranger things happen, not the show, but just strange things happen in the school. Xander ends up showing up basically naked, right?
Yes.
He's wearing boxers. And
thank God.
Yeah, and by the way, he's super embarrassed, but if I looked like that in high school, I'd be all
Jesus
like,
Christ.
what, motherfucker?
He was
What
spelt.
bitches?
Motherfucker was in good shape. That's the
know.
best shape I've ever been in.
He did not need to be embarrassed. I know being naked.
He's like, I
is
look like a
embarrassing.
28-year-old man that's in great shape that runs every morning and eats oatmeal and shit for breakfast.
And when I was 16, which Xander is supposed to be, I basically looked like Billy. Billy wasn't a kid roaming around the school. He was basically just me.
Oh, Billy's a little kid. I was thinking of Windland. What's his name?
Wendell.
Sorry.
What am I doing here? What's this
Where
microphone
am I?
thing?
Is this my house?
What?
I can go play some GameCube.
So Xander's naked. Willow gets. She's
eyeful.
doing some. She's trying to do some singing opera. You said it was Madame Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly,
right?
yeah.
Which I didn't catch.
I
the
never
first
caught that
time.
reference.
Yeah,
It's
it
brought
even comes
back
back.
up.
Yeah,
When's that come back up?
that comes back up season 4 or 5 with with the first Slayer.
That's
Riley.
amazing that they go back to that much stuff.
Oh yeah, no,
Xander's still a douchebag at this point. Not a douchebag, but a 16-year-old boy. He just can't get sex off the mind.
See, you think he's a douchebag. You keep saying he's a douchebag.
I mean, he
but-
fucking almost raped Buffy, dude. I can't believe we are overlooking that.
Wait, which part? What?
When he's a hyena.
Oh yeah,
He's
But
the first
again,
one to
is
almost
that-
rape Buffy.
but they eat the principal. Yeah.
Is that him, or is that the hyena,
He
or what
wasn't
is
in
that?
that room at that point.
Yeah.
He was a hyena, but at the same time, it was built out of his own ambition and own wants.
Animal instincts.
I mean,
yeah.
motherfucker's not Bill Cosby. Like, I don't know why you want to
all right.
crucify
Yeah,
him.
he ain't no Trump. I agree. I agree.
Grab
I
him by
agree.
the what?
Yeah, there's no locker room talk at least.
So Willow's and Madame Butterfly, she can't sing. Giles can't read. There's a bunch of weird things happening. They eventually realize it's dreams, or rather nightmares coming true.
I do want to touch on one thing in particular is Giles gets lost in the stacks in the library. Have you ever seen more than one wall in that library?
No.
Yeah, and they never
Yeah.
touch on that.
Why is that such a big fear for him to get lost in a library? It
Right.
seems like such an easy thing to write in. It's like, oh, of course the librarian would be afraid of getting lost in the library. He should know everything he's doing. But that's stupid.
Maybe it's a combo of him not being able to read and getting lost in the library, like very Twilight Zone episode-y.
Well, they
I
coulda-
totally understand the not being able to read, but getting lost in the library?
Maybe there was a ghost like the Ghostbusters. Yeah, just the librarian chasing after him. He's like, oh my god.
But that ghost gave fucking Dan Aykroyd a blowjob.
Yeah, that's true.
So wouldn't
that was
be
just
too
a dream,
afraid of that
too.
one. Was it just a dream?
It was just a dream. Yeah,
Oh.
he was kicking the sheets off and he fell out of the bed and all. Yeah,
I
so that
totally do not remember that part. I remember it was a blowjob.
So Giles gets blown by Slimer. And Buffy eventually finds Billy, starts talking to Billy in the gym, and then the ugly man appears.
ugly.
Yeah, the ugly man. Did you guys like the ugly man's sounds, by the way? He sounded different than like any other sort of monster or demon I remember.
Yeah, it was different than anything else I remember. I don't know if that makes it good or not.
I don't know. It's just it was something like that I noticed. I was like, he sounds fucking weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Did sound super creepy though. So
Creep
she
up.
finds Billy. They end up in one of the many cemeteries that Sunnydale has, which apparently is just the same cemetery.
It's the same cemetery. Yeah.
But you can kind of tell that if you honestly thought that there is like they had fucking 18 different lots with this cemetery and they all look the same, like
Right.
come
Well,
on.
No
according
way.
according to the Buffy show, at one point in time, they actually say there's 19 cemeteries in Sunnydale.
Oh, I
like
thought it was 18.
18, 19. Well,
It doesn't
it's
matter.
something.
It's
Yeah.
a lot. That the point is, it's a fucking
it's
lot.
always the same one. It's always the same one. So she frequents the same cemetery like the Bronze. Just
She
yeah.
says there's 19 cemeteries in that town.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
Yeah, and how big is Sunnydale? It's like one block, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, essentially they'd be like population. We're calculating it. It's
It's-
always moving. We're constantly killing people.
Well, this is something we've brought up
Yeah.
in a joking way.
Bronze bouncers aside.
Yeah. I think that Sunnydale rent is so low, that's why people move in. That's why Joyce and Buffy moved in. And that's why people go there, die, and people will still come back.
So it's like Lost Boys Santa Carla.
I was
Got it.
about to say that. They just totally renamed Santa Carla.
To
Sunnydale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then look at the Master's Lair. It was like totally like David's lair.
Yeah, it
All
really
you
was.
needed is a
Minus
Jim
the
Morrison
Jim
poster.
Morrison
Yeah.
poster. Yeah, man, we gotta hang out more.
Yeah.
You know, in the HD wide version, there is a Doors poster.
Right.
right to the very
It's
right.
with the camera crew.
Yeah.
It's
No,
got a
it's right
door-
behind the camera crew.
It's a Doors postcard. It's a small set.
They couldn't afford the
She's
the
eating
poster.
lunch and just Sandra turns around and he's like, "How are those maggots, Buffy?" I want to talk about the Anointed One because you brought up something really, really crazy about that. So the Master comes out and talks to the Anointed One for a little bit, as we all know from the last episode. The Anointed One is a little kid that is produced after killing 5 people from the blessing or vesselage of Luke by the Master. Right? Is that right? No, I'm
Brian
mixing
Thompson.
everything up.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So anyway, the Anointed One, we're talking about him and how much I love the fact that Spike killed him, and you said it's just because he went through puberty.
Yep. He actually had a growth spurt in between. So in season 2, you see him sitting down a lot.
Yeah. Well, in season 1, you see him sitting down a lot.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's turned and then he's sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's because of that they said, well, vampires don't really get growth spurts,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to put you down, like a dog.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of awesome though, because I really didn't like that storyline. I never liked that storyline.
Well,
The
and-
Anointed was kind of pointless.
On top of that is like when someone becomes a vampire in the series, he's the only one that kind of gets a weird verb, like a vibrating voice, which is really strange because like Spike sounds like Spike. You see the backstories to him. You see Angel with a really bad Irish accent.
Yeah,
before.
for like
That's
a week
pretty
before
terrible.
they're like, hey, just don't worry about it.
He's like, he does that interview with the vampire. It's like, I used to be Cajun, but I became a vampire, and now I can speak perfect English.
There you go.
But yeah, this kid has like a vibrating voice going on the whole time, and you just don't really understand why. And maybe it's because he's the anointed one. I don't know.
You realize.
I think that sounds good, and we can argue that. It's more than likely just like, oh, let's try this. Oh, shit, it didn't work out. Let's not do it again. But I like the idea of he's the anointed. He was special, and that's why.
Maybe it's the pubes coming in.
Yeah, definitely pubes.
You know, that was a joke, but maybe his voice was changing, so
Yeah.
they wanted it to sound similar. So
Yeah.
they just even, like, oh, fuck, what do we do?
Let's do
Add
something.
a reverb to his voice
You know,
all along the.
And that kid's
thing.
probably like 42 now.
He actually looked young, but he was 17 when he recorded all of this.
He was a little man.
That's what we always joke about Cordelia being like 32 when she started being
Oh,
Cordelia.
she was the oldest one out of the cast, I believe. She was
28?
Yeah, no, she was up there. She was new kid or 90210 age around
Wow.
that time.
90210.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah, in her 50s.
San Eyes, man.
Yeah.
You record the same thing, the same
Oh.
place.
And she was a cheerleader before, by the way.
Well, yeah. He actually brought that up.
San Diego.
San Diego
Yeah, Jeff was
Chargers or something.
all over that fact.
I'm
the
not-
fact that she actually did all of her stunts too in the first couple episodes.
Well,
Had no choice.
yeah, and you see her in the Witch episode where she's a cheerleader and she's doing that shit.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
She's showing off. She's like, look what I can do.
Yeah.
my
Screw you,
talents.
Buffy.
And they're like, cool, we can save on a stunt double for this. Awesome.
And you won't see any of that pay either.
Mm-mm.
So what the
Yeah.
fuck happens at the end? You want to give a brief, give the Eddie overall of what happens at the end.
All right, so this little kid's like, I'm lucky 19. And then, like, Buffy comes in. She beats up the Mr. Lucky guy or Mr. Ugly guy.
Because you're a lucky guy.
She comes back to the room, and the coach shows up, and the coach is all like, I rape children. And they're like, hey, don't rape children. And they're like, hey, if you ever beat him up again, we're not going to, like, call the police or anything, but don't do that again. And the kid wakes up, and he's like, there's not one person on the team. There's 19 people on the team. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry I beat you up, little kid. And then they're like, shut up, motherfucker.
Does he apologize?
No, I
No.
don't think he does.
No, Phil Collins.
Yeah, oh, he looks exactly like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
And
In the air
so, yeah, the episode
Was it Phil
ends.
Collins?
I think it was Phil Collins. He was like, you guys want me to make a video to make you cry? Here we go. Here's 1987 all over again.
Well, we're not touching on two things. Number one is like this was actually really, really a dark tone for season one, especially
yeah.
child abuse. And then on top of that is you're missing out on Pennywise.
Oh, Pennywise! Sanders' biggest fear. That was one of the scariest clowns I've seen on TV.
Which
Oh,
is
piece of candy.
super topical right now.
Yeah, because clowns are being stupid.
Except for we'll leave Puddle's pity party out of this.
No, yeah, that's super funny, right? That what does he do? Cover like
Everything.
popular 1980s songs?
Yeah, he does a Pinball Wizard cover in Johnny Cash style.
Oh, wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the Chalk the Block this weekend
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
here in
Tall.
El Paso.
Oh,
He
cool.
doesn't speak a word.
Yeah, but he's super creepy looking, but super, not super creepy looking. But
1950s.
I wouldn't want to hang out with him if he was in character for more than a couple hours, especially not alone in a dark room.
It kind of sucks for the legit clowns with everything going on.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Nowadays.
can I say something? I don't really believe in legit clowns.
What do you mean you don't believe in?
I mean, I
legit?
believe
Like,
that they exist, but I'm just kind of like, get another job, get a stick.
Be a mime.
Yeah, be a mime.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying you can just take time off and just consider yourself like a balloon blower or something like that.
So you're saying just don't wear the makeup?
Yeah, just
Be a magician.
yeah. There you go. You don't
Work
have
for
to-
David Copperfield. Where-
clowns are out right now. They'll come back. They'll be back. But right now, there's a chance that you might get beat up by like a big gang of like college
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
Maybe don't dress up like a clown right now. It's
Or
like
you'll end up like the Buffy clown.
yeah,
Punched by Xander.
It's not smart to be a clown right now. So
Which-
don't be a clown.
Which that whole scene was awesome. I don't know if it was the lighting or the filter they used on the camera. Xander coming in and just like Hansel and Gretel picking up these fucking candy
bars
bars.
and eating them like in 2 bites. Like way too much sugar intake for somebody with that kind of
No,
muscle
and when's the last
retention.
time you picked up a piece of candy off the floor and started eating it? That's just gross.
Never. No, it's some Caddyshack shit.
At least it was in the wrapper.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
gross either way. I'm not going to go, oh, piece of candy, stick it in my mouth. That's just...
I wouldn't do that.
But the great thing about this episode, and at least for Xander, normally it's Giles figuring out how to defeat the big bad, well, not the big bad, but the monster of the week, or it's Buffy, or it's somebody else. It was really Xander this time around. He was the first one to conquer his dream fear, and I think that's when everybody else realized that's how you defeat these monsters.
Yeah.
Stand up.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Also, looks great naked. So his first year, it doesn't matter. I want to blow me some sander right now. Some sander.
Well, him or his twin brother, because there's 2 Xanders at a certain point. Yeah, so.
That's not in this episode, right?
Not in this, no.
Only in that doppelganger episode.
Well, no, actually, Kelly Donovan, which is Xander's, well, Nicholas Brendan's twin brother, replaces him in another episode when he had the flu.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What do you know? What episode?
It's not until later on. I want to say it was season 3, possibly season 4.
Shit, I
Oh,
did
maybe
not
we'll
know
have
that.
him on for that episode.
Yeah.
We'll have Jason on for that episode.
Unless we're all, that's not him. We should have invited Jason. Oh fuck. Yeah, that might happen. That totally.
that might happen, totally.
Do we even really want to get into the major theme of the show, which is child abuse? For this episode.
I'm not very happy to talk about.
It's not. It's
It's
definitely
not fun to
not.
talk about it all.
And like the episode in general, I think tried to stay away from it as much as possible.
It comes in at the end and it's just like, you're a coach and you're a piece of shit.
Kind of does this Freddy Krueger thing where you know Freddy kind of molested people, but you just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Especially by part 6 when they're just like, oh, Freddy Krueger's just kind of a laughable, funny character.
He's a fun guy. He rides
doesn't-
skateboards.
Yeah, he doesn't molest children.
Which again is I don't know if this is awesome or not, but this episode is an homage to
Nightmare on
Elm Street.
100%, yeah.
And I don't know how you guys felt, but this was probably one of my favorite
Season
Monster
1?
of the Week episodes
At least
of season 1.
Season 1 for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that this is probably the best Monster of the Week in season 1.
You know why?
It's got the master in it.
Yes.
Later.
No, I'm serious. Whenever there's no fucking vampires in a Buffy episode, the
It
episode
sucks.
is not good.
Yeah.
And even though it's a dream vampire, and even, hey, you could see Buffy as a fucking vampire. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the only time we see Buffy as a vampire? There's one other, right?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Where she takes it even harder than this.
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's another episode where we see Buffy as a vampire.
I know she gets bit in the Wish.
I will ask this question: who's hotter as a vampire, Buffy or Willow?
Willow.
Buffy.
We got 2 Willows, 1 Buffy.
I'm not
He's just
into
not
Willow.
into Willow.
Buffy has that weird little butt nose.
I like it.
Yeah. It wiggles when she talks like a rabbit.
Second question: how early was Buffy when she got her first nose job?
Well, she was in All My Children, so I would say about 4.
That's
Okay,
right.
there you go.
Yeah.
4-year-old Buffy getting a nose job. That's about right for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Do you guys have anything to say about this episode? Anything you want to throw in? Add?
I think we need to throw in the death count.
Totally. There are none.
There are none.
No fucking
No
deaths.
deaths.
There's no
it was
deaths.
all in nightmares.
No deaths.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
And even then is like, so after the kid wakes up, does that mean that Laura, who got beat up, did she wake up as well? Did she never go to the hospital? What happened? Because
I'm not sure.
the kid wakes up. They're still in the same position. They turn around, they hear his eyes flutter to wake up. So they're like, oh my God, he's awake.
I assume she just got the shit beat out of her and just stayed that way. And it was only Billy. And she's like, in her own dream world, she's like, what the fuck? Fuck you guys.
And that's why she never appeared in another episode
What
again.
the fuck, guys?
She's
I
crippled for life.
exist.
How dare you not come back to this plot hole? Fuck you.
I need
It's just
to
like
come
the-
back and throw that in my face.